championship against Paul McCloskey of Northern Ireland. Harold, how do you have it through three?
Okay, Jim. 3-0, 30-27, Amir Khan. You know, Jim, what Paul McCloskey is doing is typical southpaw. He gives you half the body to swing at. In other words, the right hand is always out in front, and Amir Khan keeps circling to his right, trying to square up in front of the guy. Okay? Hasn't always been too successful with it, but he lands enough right hands while he's going to the right to win the first 3 rounds. You know, landing the cleanest shots. 3-0, Amir Khan.
Not called a knockdown. McCloskey thought he had landed a power shot. Khan countered. McCloskey went to his knees. Pabon called it a slip.
I thought there was a body shot by Khan just before that.
I think it would be interesting to see the replay, but Pabon ruled it a slip. Combination punching from Khan. Irish fans booing Khan for turning his back.
McCloskey trying to hold his hands up, but he doesn't seem to be able to sustain it because he's probably never done it before.
He's set in his ways of fighting with his hands down. But, you know, being that the fight's moving towards Khan winning decision, and McCloskey is not a puncher himself, and even though Amir is not a devastating puncher, the fight's going exactly perfectly for Amir Khan at this stage.
We're headed toward, and it seems, an accumulation of punishment here, Emmanuel, which may or may not redound to a Khan technical knockout in the late rounds. Perhaps he cruises to decision, but by and large, he's winning the round.
He's winning the round, and McCloskey, as I was getting ready to say, has to change up and do something out of his normal, which means he's going to have to be aggressive and try to let his punches go, because otherwise he's systematically losing the fight. But he's going to have to take some risks.
And the more risks he takes, the bigger a puncher Khan might become.
Yes, better opportunities for Khan.
Uppercut lands for Khan. McCloskey mostly fighting defensively,
but very
rather
relaxed.
than to exchange.
Yeah, very difficult to hurt a guy who's very relaxed the way McCloskey is.
Why is that?
He just relaxes. He rolls and he soaks up and takes the punches very easy compared to a guy who's very tight. And he's expecting a punch to come. That's why, so he can relax as compared to a guy who's not even looking for anything to come, because he's so mindset on being aggressive.
You're looking at videotaped action from Manchester, England earlier this evening. There's a live shot of the exterior of the MGM Grand Hotel in Foxwoods, Connecticut, where in just about a half hour from now, Victor Ortiz will be in the ring against Andre Berto, trying to contest Berto's welterweight title belt. If you follow boxing, you may already be aware of the colorful backstory for Ortiz, an amazing genesis which saw him abandoned as a youth along with his younger brother in Garden City, Kansas. They were living by themselves, supporting each other. Ultimately, his boxing skills gave Ortiz a chance to rise. Andre Berto has had an enviable family background. His father survived a near-fatal work accident to come back to full strength and guided Andre into boxing, sometimes riding behind him in a car as Berto ran to school and bumping him with the bumper to make sure that Andre kept up his speed. Those two young men will be bringing those backgrounds into the ring against each other tonight. Let's go back to Manchester for more of Amir Khan versus Paul McCloskey. Amid everything that went on in round 4, there were a couple of Khan left hooks to the body in all that action that may have been as effective as any 2 punches he's thrown in the fight. Average punches thrown per round so far in the fight, according to CompuBox count. Khan throwing 61 punches per round to only 30 per round for McCloskey. Hard to imagine that McCloskey can win rounds against Khan with only half as much activity. Somewhere near Palm Springs in California, Timothy Bradley and his group no doubt watching and scouting, looking for the holes in Khan's game as they prepare for the possible July 23 meeting.
Bradley also has a kind of awkward boxing style. Maybe Khan will have to bring some kind of headgear with him for that one, given Bradley's penchant for leading with his head as he charges into his opponents.
Timothy Bradley is a very, very good fighter. In fact, Larry, you were the first guy that I know that really noticed him a lot, then gave him a lot of respect. But I've learned to respect him a lot, and I think a fight between he and Mercure is going to be a toss-up to me.
Well, but Larry just made a key point about Timothy Bradley. I brought him up, and Larry began talking about the headbutts. And you say he's a terrific fighter, Emmanuel, but is it fair or unfair that his image in the sport at this moment is largely dominated by the notion that his headbutts help him win fights?
That's true. But, it's always accidental headbutts. I mean, consistently, but accidentally. It's amazing that he may be the best in the business that's ever did it as far as button. But in addition to all of that, he is a very good fighter.
Round 5 of the scheduled 12 in Manchester, England. Amir Khan rolling up round after round, it appears, against Northern Ireland's Paul McCloskey. Big hand speed advantage for Khan. Also a foot speed edge for the Pakistani-English fighter. Left hook landed for Khan. McCloskey keeps looking for the one big counter, but always seems a half beat late.
Yeah, he's throwing 1 and 2 punches at a time, but he makes it difficult for Khan to get combinations together because he bends over to his left so well that Khan can get 2 or 3 punches himself together.
McCloskey seems to be depending or hoping on Khan making some kind of mistake.
And that's strange, but he's not being not a puncher himself.
Yeah, but Khan is fighting him smart as well as aggressive. He's moving in, doing this, and stepping back.
And he's preparing to win a decision.
McCloskey has called this his rainbow fight. Right now, he is somewhere under the rainbow.
You saw the CompuBox numbers between round, which shows Khan throwing twice as many punches as McCloskey. Generally speaking, unless the guy throwing half as many punches is a big hitter, judges don't have difficulty scoring that. And McCloskey is not a big hitter. So these are easy rounds to score, and they are all Amir Khan so far.
I always want to keep in mind, Jim, that British judges have always leaned toward boxers. And so I want to give us a little bit of cushion there about what we're seeing and what they're seeing at ringside.
Good point.
But I don't think in any scoring system you could have McCloskey winning when he's not punching.
Official attendance announced at 17,125. With those who got in through some other method other than to buy a ticket, surely there are 18,000 there. And you can hear the liveliness of it all. They don't sit on their hands at British sports events. They make their presence felt. More of the same in round 6. What we've seen in the first 5 rounds of the fight. 1-2 combination by Khan knocks McCloskey back. Now McCloskey momentarily seems wobbled. Wants to come back and show he's got his legs and is still in the fight, but that was the most dominant offensive flurry so far for Amir Khan. And the first time that McCloskey appeared momentarily off balance. Emmanuel, you've talked about what a good job McCloskey is doing bending over to his left to avoid Khan's left hand. Is it possible at some point Khan will feint and come with the uppercut? And meanwhile, as I'm discussing that, here is a significant headbutt which has momentarily brought the fight to a halt. And you see the blood over the left eye of Paul McCloskey as the result of the accidental bite.
We have to assume he's asking him if he can go on.
Or he's telling him bad news. It's one of the two.
Yep.
And it looks like he's told him bad news. And the fight is going to be stopped.
I don't know. I was just looking at the facial expression. It looked like McCloskey himself wanted to stop.
Yeah. So the pot of gold that McCloskey was hoping for becomes a pot filled with his red corpuscles and what looked like a resignation.
Unless there's a giant shock on the scorecards. Harold, tell us exactly what happens here.
Well, you know, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, they'll go to the scorecards to determine a winner. We've gone beyond the fourth round, which is the point where you go to the scorecards if the fight gets stopped on an accidental headbutt. You would score the sixth round, and it appears to me that Amir Khan will win this fight something like 60-54. In other words, I think Amir Khan's won every round so far. So to determine the winner, I believe they'll go to the scorecards.
Here's a look at the butt, and you can see how hard they hit as the two heads clash together. Khan immediately reaching to see if his skin had been split open, but no, it's McCloskey whose skin split open.
So there you see Amir Khan mimicking Timothy Bradley.
Ladies and gentlemen, ringside position is advised. Sustained in the challenger. We go to the scorecards, including the round in which the bout was stopped. All three judges scored the bout 60-54. The winner by technical unanimous decision, and still
despite our trepidation, Larry, the judges did indeed have Khan winning each of the 6 rounds, 60-54 on all 3 scorecards. He has passed this particular test and presumably now moves on toward the July 23 bout with Bradley. Disappointment for McCloskey, but it's difficult to mount that dramatic a complaint when you haven't won a round in the fight. Let's go to ringside in Manchester, where interviewer Andy Kerr is with Paul McCloskey.
I don't know what the referee